Okay, hello, okay, shut up, Ken. Hello, you're listening. Hello, this is Ken's teacher. Ken is naked. And he is a king.
Alright, everybody. I'm gonna give this a shot. Maybe, just maybe, we'll actually be able to get the show going today. Ken, talk to me. See if we can at least hear what you're doing.
We can, but I can also hear me, which is not a good thing.
So, all of the things I do. Alright. Closing the door, trying to start this.
So, can you all hear
the funny part is now...
Can you hear Mr. Wayne? Can you hear us?
I can't hear you, Ken, but you're going out on the show just fine.
Okay,
so yeah,
they're there
exactly.
to hear me, but apparently Wayne can't hear me.
That's two things, and I think we'll be all set. And this is where I was freaking out for this as I was getting everything started here. Alright, I have you coming in through there. So let me take that, and let's send that directly so that I can hear you. And we'll just see what happens with this. Alright, Ken, give me a speak.
One single speak, no more, no less.
So, yeah, that's fun. How is it I can't hear you now? So everyone, this is what I do. And this is why I freak out. Let me do something I should be able to hear. Talk to me again, Ken.
Okay, Logitech camera, caution, caution.
So I can hear you through that, but now I get double feed. Oh, I hate my life.
If anybody's interested,
I fixed it.
Both things
I fixed it.
Here.
It was all my fault. All my fault. I fixed it. I finally found the one virtual cable I wasn't putting together right. So hopefully this means everyone can now hear us on the show. Yay! I am not completely...
Okay, final test, guys.
No,
IRC tells, can you hear me? Can you hear Wayne? Is our volume okay, or are we too loud, too quiet, or as Pusser says, tinny?
Well, tinny may still happen. So the problem is, I am doing this virtually, so we'll just start the show off right there. Hey everybody, welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com, the duct tape and on the road version, meaning that Wayne, myself, is not in the office, which if you're in the video wall you can tell right now and see. Not only can you watch the video stream on YouTube and check it out to see the haywire, and you can see that through my hair, you can also see me in the Google Hangout via my phone. So let's talk about this. I'm on the laptop, which I specifically got in order to do the show while on the road. However, one of the big problems is this is like little itty bitty single screen, and so I have to fit everything I normally do for the show on this one tiny screen, and it is freaking me out. But I think that piece has been sorted as best as can be. So it's all running at least. Alright. One less stress. Although, yeah, I know at least on my end I'm getting echo and music and stuff, and I'll just deal with that. That's me. Alright, so anyhow, you're listening on Sunday, the 18th of May, 2014, and it is 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Well, it's not really GMT, is it? It's GM... How is it that, I think Copy schooled me on this or something about getting it right. Because it's because of the...
I don't know what it's called, actually. British Summertime, I think it's called. But we don't actually call it that, we just call it GMT all the time. We don't think anything else than that because we're just used to being the central time. We refuse to believe anything else exists.
And that's the thing, so it's like, yeah, whatever, we'll just go with that and say it's fun. So hopefully, other than the fact that I'm failing at the show, it'll be otherwise good for all of you. So with that, I'm going to double check the Hangout. It looks like we are on air there, so hello everyone in the video walls. Also try to make sure I get a link for everyone who's listening if you want to listen live or watch us. And yes, the quality is going to be lower today because of this big on the rig. But it's there, and it's out, and there's the link for the YouTube, and we'll go forward. So, Ken, let's go ahead and get things started because we obviously are already in
Functional deviations.
Alright, sir. So, with today's dysfunctional
Indeed we are.
deviations, what have you been up to this week?
Well, sir, I have been doing a few things here and there. But first of all, I would like to give a shout out to the art contest, which is now available out there. I put up 3, meaning for this month, for last month, and for next month. So there's 3 up there because we keep being late. Well, I keep being late with the contests. So go along and take part. That would be fun. So it's available in the forums. Go to VisaLibrussians.com and go to the forums at the top, and you will find it in there. We've got several different themes going on, lots of different stuff you can go take part in. Try to add in a little bit of something for everybody. So let's go and do that. I've still got the last one to put up, and I'll do that during the break.
That sounds like a lot of work,
my
sir.
own personal life and deviations and such. Yeah, it does seem to be all work, and yeah, the audio quality is certainly down this week. I'm struggling to hear you, sir, but I can work it out. It's only when the stream can only handle one of our voices, and a little before and after. But in the next few days, well, the past week has been kind of dull, to be honest. Nothing much has happened in terms of non-geekery. But in the next week, I have several things to look forward to. So the first thing, which is both a great thing and a bad thing, is the lovely company which I work for is going to give me a qualification. However, I must go through 3 days of courses and training. So that's what, 20-something hours, 20, 25 hours or so of training. And then I have to sit an exam and pass it in order to get the training. If I don't pass it, it costs my company lots of money, which is obviously a bad thing, for nothing. And if I do pass, it's something to go on the TV and something that I can use to give back to the company who paid for it, so that's good. So it's a good thing and a bad thing because I also can't be bothered. Because
can't be bothered?
Kind of
what do you mean you can't be bothered?
It's going to be a dull course. I think it's going to be interesting once I actually get started. Like lots of these things, I don't enjoy looking forward to courses and such, but as soon as I start doing them, I do enjoy learning, I do enjoy education, and so I think I won't be so bad once I begin, but looking forward to it is no fun at all. I have my theory test for driving, so in 21 days I will either be completely legal to drive on the roads in theory, or it won't be. So I've got to start revising for that as well soon, so it seems like the next month's all exams for me, which is no fun. I don't know about how it works in the US, but here we've got to do 2 parts of a test. One's a general theory, which includes written answers, multiple answer question things, ticky box questions, etc. And
yeah,
one part
choice,
which is hazard perception, so it shows you a virtual, like, you're watching this video of somebody driving a car, and you have to press a click on the mouse whenever you see a hazard developing. And that's the difficult thing. Not if there's going to be a hazard, or if there's going to be a hazard in 5 minutes because you can see something happening way ahead. It's when it's actually something you need to think about, you know? And that's where I really struggle. I'm terrible at hazard perception in the terms of their justification of when it is. In general, if I could just click as soon as I see it, I'd probably pass no problem. But however, it's useless to do that. You lose points if you do that. You can instead do it when it actually matters to you, and that's something I struggle with. So because that's kind of a judgmental call to me. So wish me luck with that. I'm going to begin studying the next week, or at least I very much should, and hopefully I do. But knowing me, I might not.
Oh come on, that's something important. You need to get that.
I do, and it's going to cost me money, and again and again if I keep failing it. So I'm sure I will do fine now. On Thursday, I have a night out with some of my teammates because I'm moving over to another team inside my job come the start of next month. So I organised this as a sort of goodbye thing. So a good few of us are going out for a few drinks and a nice meal, and that will be good. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's payday, so that means I get some money to actually spend on the day as well, which is also good. The final thing, which I suppose could go under geekery, but I'll put it here anyway. I've been putting myself forward to do some extra stuff at work. Not necessarily paid work or anything, it's during my own hours. But I'm trying to do some photography for the company I work for, so that I get some more experience with it, and so I gets my name out there a little bit, so that the guys who I work with know that I'm a photographer that they can go to for stuff at work, and it lets, you know, it's good for networking as well, so other people will know me. Hey, how about that guy who does photography? Yeah, that guy. So at least more people know me, and that's what I'm going for. So that's been my very short week, or more than what's coming up in my next week anyway. How about yourself, sir? What have you been up to?
Well, other than destroying the gaming or the rig and trying to get the show on last minute, I've been traveling. I'm out in California this week, for people who have been following up on it, doing the Maker Faire out here, which is absolutely all geeky, so I'll talk about that when we get to Geek Cred. For non-geeky things, I'm still a little bit lingering from getting sick from the convention. It's just that annoying little, like, phlegmy cough thing that happens every once in a while, and runny nose on occasion. I'm getting over it, but I wish it would just happen faster, so that's just been annoying. While on the road, let's see, little things that have been happening. A lot of it's, I got to come out here and spend some time with my older brother out in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And basically just have a good time. It's always fun to hang out with family and catch up with my nephews and my sister-in-law and everyone. And so outside of doing the geeky things, although like I said, it's almost been all geeky because running around with his new company, OpenROV, and things like that, but hanging out and talking to those people, just a quick like side note of things that have happened is we went out on, let's see, this would have been, well, it's yesterday, so Friday night. We were out hanging out at OpenROV getting things all ready for the Maker Faire. They were getting their last firmware updates for the software for their submarines, and making sure they had a list of all the items they needed to be able to have at the Maker Faire so they could do the best job of showing off these neat devices they have. And so in doing so, let's see, at the end of the night, we were hanging out with one of the owners whose birthday was yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that he was about to leave his 20s and finally get to the ripe old age of 30 yesterday. And in doing so, kind of wanted to go out and celebrate, and so we offered, my brother and I, to spend the night, you know, hanging out until it was officially his birthday so we could wish him into it. And so we went to a pub, and it's funny because... Well, no. But that's funny because the guy doesn't drink at all. He doesn't actually drink any alcohol. And so he wanted to still go have drinks, in essence, go to the bar, so we went and to a place that he had been to once or two times, you know, something down in the local Bay Area. And we showed up at the bar, and of course I look very similar to as I do now. I've been hanging out all day, so the hair was picked out pretty well. Went up to the bar, I bought him at first we were trying to get him a root beer, and the bartender looked at me like I was silly. I'm trying to think, you're at a pub, what do you mean you want a root beer? It's like, no, just, well, for him, back there. No, I definitely want a drink. So I got a beer, I got my brother a beer, we got some hot pretzels, and then, because they had them on the menu for his birthday, we got let's see, what did he order? We got him both an ice cream sandwich. They had that on the menu, and so we got him an ice cream sandwich, as well as we got him, since they didn't have the root beer, I ended up getting him a ginger ale, so he had something to drink. Anyhow, get that all over the bar, we're kind of walking around looking for a place to go, and as we headed outside, because it's California, fairly nice out, even in the evening, table back in the back corner, so as we're heading out across the patio to the back corner, my brother and his friend headed out there first, and then for me, I get like tapped on the arm, or essentially someone grabs me by the arm as I'm walking by. I turn, and rather attractive lady there comments to me and it's like, hey, excuse me, I'm sure you get this all the time, but your fro, can I touch it? And I was just like, yes, and actually yes, I do get that all the time. It's hilarious how many people, they see the hair all picked out and soft and fluffy and they just want to reach in like, I just want to touch it. But she was very hesitant and tried to explain,
exactly what
like,
I did when I first did it.
Well, she was also trying to be very like nice about it and kind of saying like, well, no, you're saying I'm a hairdresser, and so I'm just really curious what you do for that. Oh. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And it was funny because she was talking to friends, and she was obviously like, it was the right pairing because there's two gals and two guys, and so it wasn't like she was trying to pick up on me at all. At least I don't believe so. because she's just sitting there and they're having a cigarette and kind of hanging out in their group. But she pulled me aside for the hair and asked me about it. I was like, yeah, touch it, by all means. And she did the same reaction everyone does. She put her hands, kind of did the fluff thing, and was like, oh my, it's so soft. It's like, well yeah. That's kind of the point. And I don't just make it, so it's this big nasty thing or whatever. Of course it's soft. And as she's talking to me, she couldn't believe it. She kept asking, like, so what do you do to it? I was like, shampoo, conditioner, that's it. It's like, no products or anything? Some gels, hairsprays? I was like, nah, this is just its natural state. The fur likes to be free. And so, she just was marveling at the aspect of that and really couldn't believe that I didn't use anything in it. And then we ended up chatting just randomly about all kinds of nonsense for about, 10 or 15 minutes. And then, eventually I was like, no problem, I have, fine. And I head back over to my brother and his friend so that we can, hang out and finish talking. And as soon as I get over there, one of the co-founders, essentially, is who his friend is, but asked me, it was kind of like, how do you do it? And I just kind of slyly was like, man, it's the fro. What can I say? But absolutely an example of where it's, if nothing else, a conversation starter, the big hair. Mm-hmm. And I have to chuckle because even as I was walking into the bar, I saw a reflection of myself in one of the windows, and I forget how big it can be. And so when I saw it, I even chuckled to myself like, huh, Bro's looking pretty big today. And then that all occurred. So that was, I felt.
Takes the past 5 minutes conversation, by the way, puts it all into Audacity and cuts it all out so that you never say the word fro, and you just say, everybody always marvels how big it is. Girls always want to come over and touch it.
Hey, it happens. It's soft and fluffy, and the more people touch it, the bigger it tends to get. It just, yeah, that's the frotion. So as the notes I put in, I say the fro strikes again because it definitely happened at the bar. Also, for non-geeky things, I wanted to do a shout out to my buddy Andy and I was hoping to find a link and a picture for it, but I didn't, unfortunately. But what I wanted to say is just a big shout out to my buddy Andy because he went and in less than a month's time turned around and took a project car he's been working on for kind of years, getting things and pieces together and building an engine and transmission, all the pieces, almost basically a complete build of a car from the ground up. And he has finished it, it's on the road, and he even took it to a car show this weekend. And he actually started putting it together less than a month ago. It's only been about a 3-week process. And he went from just an empty shell that he had finished painting to engine, transmission in, suspension, wheels, the interior, everything, wiring, good to go, started, dyno, tuned, and out the door. And now he's been driving it around, this amazing RX-7 he has that has, I mean, just, it's insane. It has an LS6, I think, 427 engine in it, all motor. It is a ridiculous car. And so, big shouts out to Andy. Good job. I'm jealous, and it's more of reasons I need to get my car running. Last thing, and this is what I had shown you in the pre-show there. And so for anyone else online, here's a quick link in the IRC for you that just asks the question, might I, as I've been running out here in the Oakland area, been moonlighting as a professional baseball player for the Oakland A's? And I will let all of you see what you think based on the link in the IRC, and it'll be in the show notes. So you tell me what you think of that picture of someone whose, I guess his nickname is Coco Crisp, and that is actually what is stated on his baseball card. So, yeah.
So you're saying that's your new name?
No, I am not saying that's my new name at all. And I'm getting threats as it is from Pusa about Facebook things, so I'm not sure what that's about. What are you talking about in the IRC, Pusa? I don't understand. Anyhow, so that has been my non-geeky week, and quite honestly, I think it's appropriate that we switch it over as quickly as we can to get to the things that are a little more geeky. And hopefully, because, yay, we did get a copy mail in this week. So, let me switch things up, go over and say it is now time for something a little more geeky.
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek, level up.
Alright, so Ken, what have you been doing geeky this week?
Well, sir, I've been up to a few things in terms of my geekery, which you have coloured in pink in my notes, so I can't read it. Damn it! Why would you do that?
Because it's geek.
Okay, and there's only two things. I don't know why. I don't know why I need notes because there's only two things there. But I've been playing Hearthstone quite a bit. I say quite a bit. I've had like I don't know 10 games or so. Nothing crazy. Played a few games with Mr. Hando. I played a game with Copster just before the show. Just hanging out with some people. More than anything, it's just been a social thing, to be honest. I don't actually want to play it. That rogue deck that I've been playing has managed to get me to rank 18 now, so I've gone from rank 25 up to 18, which is good. So it's cool. I'm going to keep trying to continue on with that. I'm quite enjoying it. It's from the generic Icy Veins. I think it's Icy Veins, actually. Let me make sure. Icy Veins, yeah, Icy Veins rogue deck, the default one, the low budget one. I've customized it a little bit to suit my preferences, and it's just awesome. It's so powerful. So I would recommend checking out Icy Veins. If you're struggling to win many games in Hearthstone, hey, it's helped me quite a lot, and I'm not any good at Hearthstone. I have a few good cards, so I'm not any good myself, so it's helped me a lot. I'd recommend it. As for total geekery, the geekiest thing I've done this week, by far, is play World of Warcraft.
Oh! Ugh. I mean,
So...
Sorry, something caught in my throat. Somehow that tying in with geek. Okay, yes, and...
So I was saying last week I've been tempted to do it, but I won't, because it costs money and it's just not worth it, and I probably wouldn't enjoy it anyway. And then, after the show, Copy drags me aside and says, Hey, want to buy some drugs? And I was like, not much money for it. She's like, okay, well here, have a free sample. Have your free sample. So I had a month activated to buy Miss Copster, very kindly. It was my EU account though, not the US, so I'm not playing with many VTW people. And I felt somewhat obliged to play it. And so I've been playing it. A fair bit. Here and there. On and off.
Yes, how much? How much have you been playing it?
Quite a lot. A fair bit. Like, more than I should have, definitely. It's been a lot of fun, though. You're gonna hate me. It's not as bad as I thought.
What? What do you mean I'm gonna hate you? It's not as bad as I thought.
That's all I'm saying.
You mean,
that's all
like you got a cream for a rash or something? It's not as bad as you thought?
Oh, no. It's like I thought WoW was ruined. They had that in-game shop, and they're doing a lot of strategies that I dislike in terms of money and stuff, and it just feels bad. And the company's got a bad rep because of it, and lots of people have left WoW because of that. However, it's still WoW. Like the basis of what I enjoyed all those years ago is still there. It's not as if the game style's changed so suddenly and drastically that I'm not enjoying it. Admittedly, I'm ignoring this whole shop factor. I mean, if somebody wants to like level up their dude to level 90, they can spend the money on that if they want. Just like in Hearthstone, how you can buy decks and so on. I don't care. So long as we're not playing PvP and you buy lots of armor that makes you insanely powerful, and that's the difference to me. And besides, I don't even play PvP that much, so it doesn't affect me whatsoever. I like to have alts. So I've been playing around on this priest, and my blood elf called Paralore, who I named years ago. And I've been having quite a lot of fun. I'm playing a disciplined priest, which I've never tried before. Never really tried a priest before, to be honest. It was a very low level alt. It's now level 65, and I've been healing through dungeons. And I gotta say, one of the big judgments that we thought of World of Warcraft was that it's easy and you can walk through it, no problem. For some, if you have a good group, yes, but I think that was the same back in the day. If you have a terrible group, like I have had many times in the past week, it's still just as hard as it ever was. It doesn't make it any easier due to that. So I feel that I've really enjoyed the past week, and I would recommend to others that they go back at some point.
Whoa!
The difference is, I wouldn't recommend buying the game. But if you already own all the expansions that are out, and all you need to do is spend like $10 or something just to have a month, you know, I've had a lot of fun with it. That's all I'm saying.
Really? All I'm
Whether I'll
saying is...
continue on after a month, I don't know.
Well, okay, so all I can say to this, Ken...
For now, I'm happy.
Is...
Really? You call it geek cred?
I love that there's a drop-in specially for that circumstance.
Yes,
Okay,
which
okay,
I
what
finally
do you think
absolutely
about
gotten to
all
use
that,
it. Oh, so bad. Whatever. That's all you. It's good. It's good. No, yeah.
No, what do you think? Tell me your thoughts on World of Warcraft at the moment. And what do you think is a good idea to spend $10 to go back in and just spend a month? I mean, it's only $10, and if you get even what, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of pleasure out of it, isn't it worth it?
Yeah. Always the first. It's the first taste that's free, right? See,
Right at the moment, I don't plan to extend my month contract because I'm quite happy. In fact, they've got a pay month by month thing going on, and I put down the month by month. Then I instantly cancelled it because I don't want to spend I don't want to do it next month. I just want to have 1 month and see how I feel after that. And like I said, I'm enjoying it. I think once I get to level 90, once I've finished all the content, I'm going to try a couple of groups and then go, yeah, I'm bored, I'm done. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I like the leveling process, unlike many people. I like that satisfaction of getting the ding. I like getting more powerful and getting put into a lobby group and just being awesome. Or the opposite, going put into a high tier group and then just feel like having to try hard to earn my weight, you know? Pull my own weight. I've enjoyed it.
See, I used to like WoW back in the day. I liked it when I could explore around Azeroth, and it was fun to kind of run around, and that leveling mattered and things like that. I just always hated the idea of the raids and everything else like that. It feels like Blizzard has done everything they can to remove the leveling aspect of the game from it and just get everyone to max level and end content, quote unquote, as quickly as possible. Regardless of that, I have trouble even going back and seeing the old graphics anymore. And yes, I know there's a current update coming out with whatever Draenor that's going to hit, that's going to do a refresh on the graphics yet again, and it's supposed to be a big deal. But to me, it's so past its time, and my rosy glasses of nostalgia have not worked. Every time I've gone back to it on a free week trial, seen my own tunes, and I'm just like, over it. I don't care. Give me something fresh and new, Blizzard.
Oh, I remember
something.
Yeah, I remember I got that achievement that one time on this rear mount. I love this rear mount. I was so proud of this when I got it. You don't have that at all?
No, because I was out of the game before they added all that fluffy bullshit. And so, no, I don't remember that. I remember when I actually got... My questing stuff like that remembers when I went back and was in Desolus, going into the Centaur Cave, in order to get the first real boots that mattered for an undead rogue. That's what I remember. I remember when I first got flight form as a druid and was able to start going around the world, or actually my first just travel form as a druid, and being able to run around as a cheetah essentially to get places quicker and not needing to get a mount at that point. I remember the first times going out in, Arathi Highlands, or east, wherever it is, east of Stranglethorn and all those, and first having to travel around and find the roving golem, the big rock mob that was out there, and having to catch him to finish a quest. I remember better experiences of before they added PvP arenas to the game, and you had open world PvP where you could actually run around and get into trouble by going to the areas you're not supposed to do. And so it's things like that I remember that seem to be dead in the world now.
You know, I've done a... Sure, but I would disagree with the PvP side, at least anyway, because I have played so much PvP in the past week. I've been just running around in... I did the Burning Crusade yesterday. I first got into that content yesterday, and I got to a stage where I was trying to do quests and I couldn't do them because there's so many dudes running around inside all the bases, all the horde bases, destroying the quest givers and just causing havoc. And yeah, it's a bit annoying, but part of me was kind of satisfied that it still existed and people still did that kind of thing. I had a lot of fun with that, and that's been happening for the past day, like almost constantly, all the way throughout the Outlands.
Well, so that is kind of harkening back to back in the day, which is nice. I do like that they get some story of people still doing some open world PvP on a normal PvE type server. I don't know. I at the same time, as general, I'm a MMO hater. There's not an MMO out there I'm playing today, and so at the same time, WoW being so old, it's even more so a level of not for me. So in a way, I will give you the credit of saying, hey, if you're still having fun with it, fine. At the same time, I hate that people are still giving Blizzard a free pass on not being that they're a terrible company and they don't produce anything new, and somehow we're still rewarding them for that. I wish that people would force them to move on.
No, we're not rewarding.
You are! Anytime money goes to them for any reason, you're rewarding them.
That 5 million drop in player base is a huge deal to a company like that. Absolutely massive deal. They know something's wrong. They'll be trying to shake things up. I can assure you of that.
Again, Blizzard, I'm trying my best. I shouldn't even speak about it because my opinions are so well known about it that I should just let it go. And if you're having a rosy, sunshiny time, by all means, enjoy your nostalgia. I like new games, would like something new. I had hoped for the longest time that Blizzard was actually going to do something right. They've shown me with the past several games they've released that they have lost all focus on anything except how to, try to irk every penny out of your pocket, and that is really their business model beyond making like a good game. But that's just me. So I'm just gonna stop and say I hope you're enjoying your World of Warcraft time. And when you're ready to play some adult games again, you should come back, since there's been great updates to things like War Thunder now that the public beta for the tank mod is in place, and all the updates that have been happening to things like Mech Warrior and even like Loadout, and I don't know, other good games that are out on the market today.
How would you define a good game? If it's by player base, WoW's still doing fine. If it's by
yes, in that point, why don't you get back to playing some more Candy Crush? If that's the terminology for a good game.
If it's how long it's lasted for, it's been doing well. If it's the number of players that are actually currently playing it, still millions.
We need then let's go to all the Zynga games and the stuff on Facebook.
Don't want to change over. I'm not saying we currently still subscribe and still pay for it, unlike Facebook games.
I do not like what Blizzard has become. I no longer find any entertainment in the World of Warcraft. I would rather they spent some time and made a good game like, I don't know, Warcraft 4, and continued the story at a place where we all started to remember. I would love to play a good RTS from a Blizzard-type game. Yeah, they didn't do it with StarCraft 2, so I'm still waiting. And so, we'll see.
I agree, Warcraft 4 would be awesome, but the real name for Warcraft 4, I believe, is World of Warcraft.
No, because that's some weird BS that you play as a single avatar at a time, not something that's actually good. Again, I need them to make a new game. So, that's all I'm trying to stop! You're not letting me! I'm trying to stop!
.com to explain your thoughts on WoW, good or bad. We are interested to see.
Ken is, at least. He wants others to hate on or to disagree with me. So, exactly,
I just happen to know that lots of WoW players still listen to the show, and I'd love to hear people who don't play WoW as well. I'm genuinely interested to hear your viewpoints, because I don't think there's any game out there that I would rather didn't exist. I don't care if any game out there exists, personally. So, like you're saying with WoW, as long as people are happy playing it, good for them. And right now, I am doing that with WoW.
So. Oh, let's see.
No.
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting real-time updates from the family asking, when is the show done exactly? And do you want to go get food? It's like, well, yes, I'd love to get food, but no, I have to entertain the masses before I can eat. That is my suffering that I give all of you. Especially bad because I know my sister-in-law knows where to eat.
Then you can go and have your noms.
No, it's actually like going out to eat, that kind of thing. And so, nope, not going to do it. Got a show to do. Right. They say there's news to talk about and things that are actually happy and exciting and geeky other than old crap games from Blizzard. So, what else has been going on? Let's see. What else have you been doing, Ken, that's actually geeky?
That's most of my week in terms of geek. Although you should check out the IRC and see what Missing No is saying to you there. He's saying, recognize this armor, Wayne? It's from this.
Yes, no, I did check it out, and it's from a really good game because it's from Tribes Ascend, and so that's an outstanding game that's from. But the armor, I need to actually go look at that picture because it didn't link in the IRC, and I have been having trouble copying and pasting it out of there. So you'll have to either send it as an actual link, or I'll have to go back. So, since Ken's done with that, we do have an email talking about a little bit of geekery, and unfortunately it's probably going to be an equally get me going. So, we get our weekly hit of a copy mail. Exactly. This one says, "Greetings to you, Dr. Lord Reverend Kenneth Neil Reed II and Mr. Wayne. As mentioned last week, I'll be attending a convention next weekend, so here is my panic mode, last-minute costume grind email.
You did that very well.
I only have until Thursday to get things done. I haven't even started painting yet. A slightly more different topic that only Canadians could appreciate. Tim Hortons has celebrated the 50th anniversary of its first shop on May 17th, and there will be free birthday donuts for all. No more news this week. 4 days of work and cosplay grind in between. Anime North next week, so no copy next Sunday. Bye for now. Much love. The original copy. Frantically crafting, convention placeholder, and anarchist." Thank you, Miss Copy, for emailing into the show as always. I'm actually surprised she didn't admit to being a dealer this week, since she knew that you were going to be playing some WoW. And it's all her fault. So thank you for that, Miss Copy. Alright, what have I been doing that's geeky this week? Well, everything I've been doing so far has been geeky this week. Like I said, I've been trying my best to avoid saying anything else because it's all been geek. So this week has been me traveling out to California because my brother and sister-in-law and family all live out here in the Bay Area, so out in San Leandro, California. And out in the local area, and I thought it was honestly right down in San Francisco downtown, but it's not. It was in, it's not Santa Ana, shoot. Down south a little bit and across the bay in a town. And they are holding this year's and every year's Maker Faire, the home of the Maker Faire, and really there's several out there, but this is where it's big, bad, and amazing. So, for anyone who doesn't know what the Maker Faire is, go to makerfaire.com and you can see photos and pictures about what this convention is all about. They had ones originally listed from prior Maker Faire, and now they've got pictures up there from this one. And some of the things, it's kind of a hard event to describe, and people have asked me multiple times what it's about, and all I can really do is kind of send them to the link and say, kind of look through pictures and figure it out yourself. San Mateo, that's where it's at. San Mateo Fairgrounds. And I think they were expecting anywhere in the upwards of about 60,000 people to attend it yesterday. Quite a large event. So, Maker's Faire, and I've been taking pictures. I've been doing my best, but I haven't interviewed anyone. As much as I brought this microphone with me, I haven't actually got any interviews, and I have learned some things even that I'm not allowed to disclose, unfortunately. But talking to him, I came out here. One of the big opportunities I have is because my brother just recently transitioned to the company OpenROV, which is, I've talked about before, they make underwater remote operated vehicles, basically mini submarines, that are really, really neat. At first I thought they're way more expensive, but the actual kits are more reasonable than I thought. So the kits, while not cheap, are a dang good value. They go for $850 US, and it sends you this remotely controlled robotic vehicle that you're able to fly down to depths as low as 100 meters under the water, that has a live video feed that feeds back up into a computer, and you're able to fly with just a gaming controller. And so you're able to explore areas underwater. It's got 1,000 feet of tether, and it's able to go through and just search out all these neat areas. And it's nice because it's all open source. And so you're actually able to get in there and program your own things and add your own sensors and pieces to it, and people have been doing all kinds of great things with it. So I've been excited because for the first time, and I think someone who would really appreciate it, and I didn't see, hey, he is on, Kuro! There you are. Kuro, we'd really appreciate it, is their office space has so many toys in it. They've got a laser cutter in it where they're cutting out the actual body pieces and how they're creating the overall structure of different parts of the submarine, as well as they've got the laser printer on one side. They've got all these different, you name it, soldering areas and stuff like that, where you actually get to put together and wire all the different devices, ordering in circuit boards and individual cameras, and all these, just basically building entire robots from the ground up, from just individual pieces up to being fully built and assembled machines. And that by itself is about as geeky as you can ever get. And so definitely check out the OpenROVs and see what it is that that group is doing, and you'll get an idea of what I've been around and playing with essentially all weekend, which has been so much fun. But this is also my in to the Maker Faire, because OpenROV holds a booth there where they set up a pool, have the tables with a bunch of the people that are creating their own ROVs as well as the company itself, and they answer questions and kind of show off these devices to people walking along, and the kids love it because it's kind of warm out and there's this big pool of water, so kids get to splash around in their hands and stuff like that, and they get to fly the subs. And it's great to see how easy it is to control, that you even have little kids who are grabbing basically a gaming controller. It looks a lot like a PlayStation controller, just like a Logitech one they have, and they're right away flying the sub around, and it just makes sense to them. And so that by itself is really, really cool.
That's awesome. I'm quite jealous. I wish I could do that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, and that's just the OpenROV side of it. So Maker Faire as a whole is a big grouping of people that come together to show off everything they've been making. And some of the things they make, and it's a big variety. If you go to, it's basically put on by the guys that do Make Magazine. And so if you've ever seen Make Magazine, they show projects of things that you can create yourself out of household supplies, out of hardware stores to electronic stores, and how you put it all together to create these neat devices. So they have kits and stuff that you can buy like that from just Make itself, but they also have all these other companies and individuals who created their own projects and are showing them off. So some of the things I saw that were just really neat that stood out, they had entire areas to show people how to learn how to solder. To just do the simple act of actually binding metal and components together by heating up a soldering agent and bring it together, and they had kits where you could practice and learn how to solder and do things like put together little LED devices with little batteries and all that from scratch, and then wear around a pin that had an LED light that showed that you had done that project. And they have these set up for even little kids to make, all the way to as old as you want to be and as complex as you want to be. They had a booth from Intel that was out there showing off these little projects where they're using a rolled up piece of paper, real simple, with a little bit of conductive tape behind it, and on one side a battery and the other side a light, and essentially making a little like light wand out of it with the most simple devices and pieces. I got to see, and they had a whole thing for like growing and local growers who are how you could grow things at home. Being out in California, like even my sister-in-law has a garden in the back and has chickens and things like that, and so a lot of people make their own produce because it is some of the freshest food you could ever have, and you know where it comes from. So they were showing how you could set up your own little greenhouses in the back of like a wagon and such, and just all the little devices and things they've done in technology for that. That's very easy to make yourself instead of having to go buy these massive rigs and from companies. And so it's really a movement to see how many things you can do with your own hands, with your own creativity, to create solutions to problems you have in your own life, or just come up with your own, like artistic means even. People riding around in simple things like little bicycles that were encased in what looked like giant cupcakes, and they're kind of famous for being around. And so as you're running through, your head just pops out the top of the cake with a little hat on it, and you look like a big glazed cupcake running around, and riding around. Lots of vehicles like that. People who made steampunk everywhere, like steampunk bicycles, steampunk wagons, and people dressed up like that, because that's a lot of creativity in Maker. Got to see, trying to think some of the other big things, because they have a lot of artist pieces where they're using things like metal and fire. And so many places where people were blowing out massive streams of flame out of the things they had created. One example being, there's a guy running around a little dragon, it's hard to say, it's a vehicle they made, like a little car, but it's all external, so he's not inside it, and he's riding on the back of this dragon that he has big levers that he can puppeteer it and make the mouth move and the head jump around and things like that, and then push buttons and actually blow fire out the mouth of it. A really neat one is and I'm sure this is famous, it's been at Burning Man and things like that, it's a huge octopus, this big 8-legged creation that rotates around and blows fire out of its arms as well as out of the head of it, and it does it along with music. And so it's playing a song, it's like, like the 1812 Overture or something, boom, boom, and massive jets of flame go flying out of it. And these are things that I did get some pictures of and some video, and so when I get back to the main office, I'll find some time to actually get it all uploaded and put together, so you guys will be able to see what I was doing at Maker Faire with all of that. What else is going on with it? Like I said, those are some of the big ones. Other projects were a lot of 3D printers, a lot of newer printers coming out. Devices, people are kind of creating little crafty things that solve middle problems. I saw one of the things like at CES, I had talked to Panasonic and a few other companies had come up with ways to add cameras that allow you to do panoramic video at once, where it kind of did this deformation of an image cone down into a regular camera and made it so that you could then see 360 around you. Really neat idea. This other company was able to devise a way to take essentially the cameras like in our laptops and stuff like that and put 4 of them around a container and able to right away stitch it together into a seamless panoramic video into a device basically no bigger than about a hockey puck. And in doing so, basically made a 360-degree camera that can record at 720p on its own internal SD card. And so while the other solution that you get is kind of cheap but allows you to look all around, it's really a distorted and low-resolution image. This one's giving you a full 720 by whatever that rotates around, higher than the regular 1280 or so that you get from the video around it, because it's a full 360. I thought that was amazing and neat, and it's on Kickstarter. There was a whole lighting display where it's this closed-in environment that shows off LED projects. So people showing all kinds of light-up things. From one of the really neat ones is a grand piano that was all set up with kind of it was translucent material, plastic around the piano, and whenever you played a chord, the string down it had an LED light underneath it that would react whenever you hit a key. And so you could actually watch yourself play, and it sounded amazing. You'd play it, and you'd see the lights of what you're playing throughout the piano at the same time. To a massive, in the dark room, they also had a massive Tesla display where they have those big, oh gosh, the ones that generate lightning effects, essentially. And I forget, isn't it Tesla that does that?
Yeah, Tesla. Yeah.
So they had 2 Tesla towers, and in the middle they had a cage. And it was interesting because the first one I saw, they played, and what they do is they adjust the frequency of the energy being created, and so when it arcs to the cage in the middle, it actually creates a sound that you could rotate to a normal tone.
I've seen this before, actually. It is very cool.
Yeah, and so seeing it live, well, that was great, because I've seen videos and stuff of it all the time, so seeing it live, it does give you the sense of like, holy cow, the amount of electricity they're pushing through this thing. And what was great is they played the introduction to Doctor Who through lightning. And so the electricity dispersed made Doctor Who. I got to hear the Imperial March. I got to hear some, like, I think an AC/DC song and stuff. They had a bunch of things queued up for it. But while watching the Doctor Who one, they actually had a group of like 4 kids that had to have been maybe 8 years oldish in the cage jumping up and down while lightning is striking it. And so it was just like, that's so cool, so cool. There was a bunch of just outfits and stuff. People had made entire big costumes out of nothing but cardboard, out of little pieces of wood and such. On the front page of Maker, there's a guy that had this harness that you put on. Essentially, that was essentially a robot costume made out of wood. I got to see. There's just so many things, and so many things that you get to get hands-on with, and so it is kind of a mecca for all things geek. I couldn't express it enough how much was going on with it, and it's kind of like I need to go back through all my photos and stuff just to get an idea of everything it is I saw. In a way, for the kind of event this was, of all the people I could have gone to it with, I really do wish Kuro was out here with me, because he really would have understood all the little nuances. I got to meet people, like some of the people that you meet. There's actually, and I forget the name of the show off the top of my head, but it's Adam Savage's show from Mythbusters, his YouTube channel, where it's talking about making things, where he does a lot of stuff, where the other guys that do the show, it's tested, the show tested. I ran into those guys. They actually do the show. No, it was great. I didn't stop them because they were interviewing, doing their own piece of it, but just I took a picture of them kind of in the distance, their whole group together. I was like, I know those guys. They rock. Because, as my brother put it out, Maker Faire is such a big event for people to come play. It's a big playground and stuff, that there's billionaires who walk around and they dress down so that they look like just average, regular people, so they get lost in the crowd. You're walking around hand in hand with essentially everywhere around you. So I did get to see some. I also met some because of the guys who run OpenROV know everybody. And one, they're just amazing people. But I got to meet one of my not idols or icons, but do you guys remember when I talked about an app that was available? It's on Android as well, but it was available on the iPhone called WordLens. And essentially it was an application that whenever you held up your phone, the video, if it saw text, would automatically translate it in real time from a different language to another one. Remember that one?
This was years ago, wasn't it? I remember this.
Yep. I met the guy who wrote that.
Oh, you're kidding me. That's cool.
No, and it was funny because it was just news came out because WordLens just got purchased by Google. And so his app just got purchased by one of the biggest groups out there, and I can't talk anything about that.
He's quite
because,
happy now then.
well, because I was talking to him about stuff, and he was letting me in on a bunch of stuff. He's like, "Wait, are you pressed?" And I was like, "Well, I can be." And so I was like, "Okay, I won't talk about any of that stuff he said, but just the idea that I got to meet him was amazing." He's just an eccentric, cool guy, and it was one of these that when I was meeting the owners of OpenROV, the guys who co-founded it, they was like, "Oh yeah, we know this guy. He used to work in, live just down the road, and we used to work with him essentially. Right? He was in college with me, kind of deal." And I was just like, "What?" And so it's amazing being in this area because this is where so many people create and build all the apps and software that we all love and enjoy. So it's neat to be in that kind of circle of people and talk to people that have these lofty ideas. And I kept trying to check myself this week because I would talk to some people who are working on inventions and kind of, as I always do, give them my unsolicited advice to say, "Hey, have you thought about this? You could do this. How about trying this?" And then I had to stop myself. I was like, these are brilliant people. What am I doing? They know what to do, not me. And so that was all.
They sit there smiling, going, "That's a great idea." And when they're like, yeah, no, I thought that I tried, it didn't work."
Well, and that's part of what happened. And actually talking to the OpenROV guys, that was some of the discussion. Although I did throw some ideas at them that they were kind of curious of, but at the same time it was kind of like, well, we're not going to do it with the base model, but if you'd like to expand the base model, just go buy a kit, and it's open source. Play with it. Do whatever you want. So I actually am waiting now. I got to save my pennies because while it's affordable for what you get, it's not cheap, $850 for one of their kits. But I see the value of it, so I'm probably going to save my pennies and try to get one this fall. Right now I still have to focus on costumes and my Robo 3D, which is another piece, because there's a ton of 3D printers here. And even more so than I saw at CES. Now, in smaller booths and stuff everywhere, but there are just as many or more around everywhere. Again, MakerBot, they are the big guys, and you see them out in the corner there showing off their big ones. Again, less floor space than they had at CES. So at CES, they had a massive booth. Here, everyone had much more kind of tiny areas to work in. But when I did run through, because I knew, had gotten an email from the company that I bought my 3D printer from, Robo 3D, and it said that, hey, if you had any projects you've highlighted and made off your 3D printer, let us know, and we'd love to showcase it at Maker Faire. And I was like, well, that's damn cool, show what people are making. Well, so except that I hadn't received mine yet, because they told me when I first ordered it there'd be a 4 to 6 week lag on it because of back orders and how many they've ordered and how many people are excited about it. Well, I had just reached my 6-week mark and kind of sent an email to them saying, "Hey guys, where's my printer?" Not really like a whiny one, but more of a just, it'd be good if I knew so that I can plan whether I'm going to be able to 3D print the stuff for my cosplay for Denver Comic Con, or if I have to start creating things out of wood or something. And so I went, and they said, because they said they were highlighting things at Maker Faire, when I finally pulled the trigger at saying I was going to come out here and check it out with my brother, first thing that hit my mind was like, oh, Robo 3D is going to be there? I should stop by their booth and ask them where mine's at and kind of talk to them about this order that came in.
Yeah.
So I did. I found them, and I was going around finding all the 3D printers, talking about, I got to see the new Ultramaker 2, which is really cool, all these other ones. But I did go and kind of say, all right, where are they at? Found them. Nice guys, right? Little booth, but I was talking to them, and I forgot how big the Robo 3D is. It's actually a pretty decent sized printer to be able to handle the print volume it has. But you forget because it's got such a cool design that when I actually walk up and see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I still have to find a place to fit that in my house, huh? But so I go and I see it, and I'm like, oh cool. And I'd already known because the email was sent, they said they got 500 in, and they're getting them all shipped out. They're opening up because they're adding a few little pieces to it that weren't in the original design. So for me, I'm like, oh, very cool. That means they're updating it. I'm getting a more robust version than what I saw at CES, which is true.
Not completely.
They added some LED lights to it, so it actually lights up so you can see what's being printed a little better. And these are things that's funny because the Nerdist out there, Nerdtacular, I forget his channel, I have to look it up again. Barnaby is his name. But he has 2 or 3 3D printers and one of the biggest, best man caves in existence. I'd actually love to meet this guy. His man cave's awesome. You can find him on YouTube. Check him out. And he did some stuff about getting his Robo 3D and some things he's lessons learned after having it for a period of time. So I watched those, and I already had anticipated when I get mine, like the things I'm going to have to do first to make it a better printer that's already in the box. It's just some things that deals with some little inconsistencies or issues you might run into with printing, and it just makes it more stable and consistent. And so in doing so, I kind of mentioned some of these things to the Robo guys, And it's funny, in the update that they have for what I'll be getting, as well as in the next version they're going to be doing, they talked about not necessarily specifically incorporating some of his fixes, but in a way addressing some of the things he already had identified. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? So the version I'm getting is actually better than the one I thought, and it's several steps better than, like, it basically took me from having to spend already another $200 on the project the day I bought it to make it awesome, to now only having to do like a little bit of printing some things out and tweaking it. And they already showed me some other design things they're working on in prototypes. So I'm just like, in a way, I almost wish I was waiting till the end of the run, like the end of the fall. But they're minor tweaks.
What were you like?
Some expression of, what would I say, angst that I'm not going to get the latest and greatest thing, but at the same time, happiness that I'm going to get something that's still amazing. So, I don't know what that sound was again, because I heard it in my own ears. You'll have to listen back. But it was fun to be able to harass them and actually talking to them. That I told them all the ideas I had for the 3D printer, and it was fun to see their reaction. They're like, "Oh, I never even thought about that," because my ideas of using 3D printers for cosplay, just like I have these ranges of things I want to do that I could do as costumes if I could design it in 3D and print it out to make my own full-size replica weapons and things like that. That, well, maybe not functional, will look just like the real ones, and like that's all I need. It's cosplay. It just has to look right. Oh, the things I could do, and they heard that and they're like, "Oh." Yeah, where I'm talking about like my final project, and they actually had an example that they had printed that kind of fits with what I want to do, is printing a full like plate mail armor set out of plastic, essentially.
That would be awesome. It'd be light as well.
Right? It'd be lightweight, and as long as you do it in pieces, because the printer has a limit to what it can do for volume, but as long as you segment it out, you put it back together. And what they had an example of was a full-size Master Chief helmet from Halo. That, of course, that helmet's way too big to print in a single piece in their printer. There's a couple printers out there that can do that. They've been shown off like Iron Man helmets, but the Halo one's even bigger than that, so that's a tough one. But they showed one that they had printed in probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 or 8 segments, and started gluing together, and yep, full-size Master Chief helmet. And so this concept I had where I could build a full armor set out of it, and then you just glue it together and finish the edges, paint it right, and it would look amazing and be, like you said, lightweight, but yet durable enough to kind of wear all over. And if you broke a piece, you could just
like swell because it's plastic, so
exactly.
That's cool.
So I have so many ideas what I do, where I'm gonna have to like ask for donations for more spools of material so I can print everything.
Do you think the understanding of human clothing is going to change with the 3D printing craze in the next 10 years?
Well, so there's some of that's already been started. One of the companies there was showing off a new filament that they have, and that's actually an amazing transition for me, where it was almost the next booth over. They have this one that's a little more rubbery. It's a rubber, nylon, and plastic combined filament, and they're printing shoes. They're printing 3D printed shoes.
Okay, well that's perfect then. You can get them like perfectly fitted for your feet.
And that's exactly what they're doing, because when they talked about it, they say you don't order by a size. They measure your foot exactly, and the way they're calling it is they're saying it's me-sized, because it is perfectly fit to your foot.
They are going to make money. They're going to make a lot of money.
Well, so it's an interesting idea, and I didn't go into depth with them because my thought was the problem is if you have a 3D printer, I can just print my own, right? But you need that material, and that's part of it. And if they're not giving you the true specs of it, because one of the smart things that they're doing that you can do with the 3D prints is they're printing the soles, and you see with so many modern shoes how they have like air pockets and little things, and the way the designs of the soles are, they're not just solid pieces of rubber or anything. They actually have little tread and pockets to it so that you can get a more comfortable walk. They can do that directly into it, and so it's like, oh, isn't that amazing? And so it'll be very interesting to see how it all works out, but that's a step you're talking about. Another thing that I've heard, and I'm going to try to test this out a bit, is they've shown that with the printed pieces, because right now you can't print directly in like a fabric material or cotton or anything, closest you can do is like those nylons that have some flexibility. But if you take a plastic or a nylon and print it out, you can take it to cotton, and using an iron, essentially, you can heat it up on the backside, and that plastic will kind of bind with the fabric material, almost pull itself into the fabric. And so there's a potential that you could add a lot of pieces and build something like that. Everything okay?
Yeah, I just heard something heating up, and it's my Mac deciding that it's using too much processing power or graphics to show the video wall, I suppose, and it's just the fan is starting to go off, so it's heating up for whatever reason. Now, I wasn't sure what it was, because I'm not used to the noise through here, so I was like, what?
No, I saw you looking around the office like,
outside?
what just happened? What's going on? Why is there more air moving? I just wanted to make sure there wasn't something you had to run outside and suddenly and like deal with, a fire coming down, but... Yeah, so, no, it's funny, but yeah, we should see 3D printed clothing or more aspects to it. I did see, although I didn't get to spend much time with it, and I could have gone today, but it was more important for me to do the show, is they had at least one soldering one, an additive, like, build it up out of metal type of printer. So those are very interesting, because now you can fabricate out of surfaces like metal itself, which gives all kinds of range of ideas. They also have a lot of, like, CNC machines, so removing, and that's the thing. So you have additive, which is, like, your printer types, resin types, any of those, and then you have subtractive. And I don't know if it's got a better term than that, where you actually use like a CNC machine to use a bit to grind out and pull material away from something. And they were all kind of right next to each other because they're all fabrication. It's all ways that gets put together to do things. Oh yeah, so it's funny, who's just sitting there saying Google goggles, part of the discussion coming out, where saying what you could see, stuff like that. There were so many people with Google Glass around, because I'm here basically just outside of Silicon Valley, is where all the techies start. And so this, as my sister-in-law put it, glass holes. People that are running around.
That's not fair.
Well, it's a certain mindset of the people that are running around with Google Glass on, right? And so I think that's where it comes from, is like the people who do own Google Glass coming out and kind of being like, well, I have Google Glass.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I think that's more what it came from than anything else.
At the same time, I can't wait to be one of those guys.
Hey, this only apparently costs $150 for all the parts.
Really?
That's what the latest rumor was, as some people took apart like one of the unbox, or where they take apart all the pieces of the Google Glass and analyze the hardware, and they basically said, yeah, it really would only cost about $150 for all the parts. And so then the question comes out as
electrical engineer.
Yeah, the question comes like, how do you make it, and how are they charging so much? But go figure. So anyhow, that's a side note. So with that, I am going to try to lead us out to a break, since I've been ranting all this time about it. So all I need to do is cue up some music here. Try to make it so I don't like chop your head off as I'm finding the music that I want to throw into Sam, so that we can take a quick break, refresh things, and get ready for talking about some news and things like that. I think I might have had some notes on something else geeky, but just make sure real quick. So Maker Faire, OpenROV.
I thought I had something else as well. I'm trying to find the article, so we can both look through and.
Yeah. So during the break, we'll finish picking this up. The last thing I had to
find our articles. You can go on to the ShowX forums and get that art contest going. Go take part. Think of it. Look at the themes and decide what you can do in the next month or so, because it ends at the end of June. So there's 3 contests that end at the end of June. That's a total of 9 entries that you can do. All different themes, all different types. Maybe do some photography, some cosplay, some other stuff. It could be a lot of fun. Go take part. Let me actually read out the themes while we do this.
All right, do that.
So for month 4, the themes are writing, blue, stick. I don't know where that came from. Cosplay, fairy, and the quote, "Fool me once, shame on you." So that's due by the end of June. Then there's month 5, which is music, bricks, back in black, pens and pencils, games, and the quote, "Mayday, Mayday." And the final, the latest month, well, actually next month's one, the themes are the 7 deadly sins: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun. So go take part in all those, see what you can do with your creative side. Remember, amateurs and experts all welcome alike.
Very nice. So definitely take part in the art contest, and if nothing else, I failed in the past to get things put together from the art contest, but because we've gone to this video form, one of the things I will do is, as we go forward, show off past entries and things like that on the video stream. So we'll get out there for everyone to take part and see. All right, with that, you're listening to ShowX.
I found my article.
Oh, good. But we'll come back to that article, because like I said, we need to take a break. So have your article. We're past our break. we're going to take that, since at least things are working today, although duct taped and glued together somewhat. You're going to listen to a couple of songs from OC Remix, so check these out and have fun with that. And then we'll be back with more, all right? Okay, so then I'll be right back, and you're listening to Show X. Hey, it's okay, Ken.
You're listening to Show X on btwproductions.com.
This was a trial. I'm making a note here. Huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done, and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. Not even angry. I'm being so sincere right now. Even though you broke my heart and killed me, and tore me to pieces, and threw every piece into a fire. As they burned, it hurt because I was so happy for you. Now these boys of data make a beautiful line. You were out of beta, we're releasing on time. So I'm glad I got burned. Of all the things we learned for the people who are still alive. Go ahead and leave me. I think I'd prefer to stay inside. Maybe you'll find someone else to help you. Maybe Black Mesa. That was a joke. Ha ha. Fat chance. Anyway, this Send in your emails to show at btwproductions.com.
Alright, everybody, and welcome back. So, for everyone who's hearing the echo that's going on, that's my fault. Next time I get the show rig all set up, I'm going to take it back. When I get home, I'll take the laptop, I'm going to mirror it to what I've got on the desktop, so it all sounds normal instead of being so like, rah! So, I'll get that sorted.
What does it sound like?
Yeah, again, you, stop it with me and my emphasis. Anyhow, the final thing I had off the last segment with our Geek Cred is I'm hoping to earn some more this coming week because we had a little contest locally on the email, and looks like I may have won. But I can't touch it yet until I get home to check out the link. But I got tickets to a pre-showing of the new X-Men movie, and hopefully we'll get to go watch that next Tuesday.
That's insanely cool. I'm very jealous.
So hopefully that happens. If I work it all right, that'll be my Geek Cred leading into next week. Alright, so anyhow, now it is time for us to talk about something that's not, well, more geeky, but not about us.
Technology, news, and more. Today on the Geekoscope.
Alright, so, on the Geekoscope today, Ken, what do you have for us to talk about?
Well, first of all, like I said, I'd like to do the article that I wanted to discuss. And I suppose it does actually fit into this section, although it's not gaming per se or anything like that. I was thinking the other day, I was traveling to work and I was like, it takes me about 25 minutes to get to work every day via public transport, and that is a waste of time. Why do I spend 25 minutes doing nothing with my time, maybe playing a game on my phone? Waste of time. I should do something productive. And so I typed into Google, what should I learn? And I found a bunch of different things. I saw one thing saying 100 skills that every man, woman, and child should learn, and it included things like how to make a fire and how to put up a tent, how to do the washing. And I was like, okay, this is just like stuff that everybody already knows anyway. I mean, this is literally the bare basis of life.
I know a lot of people who don't know all that.
A podcast or something I can do in my spare time. It's not necessarily survival skills, but more general for life or learning about science or something like that, or culture or something like that. And I found a sciencey type thing that really interested me. Now, I don't know, you've probably heard of it, and if not, I bet Kuro has. The Arduino.
Yes, I know about the Arduino. In fact, much like I was saying, that's something I missed about the Maker Faire thing. One of the people I knew, and one of the people that champions or might have been the first developers for BeagleBone. And so there are BeagleBones out here, Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, and all people are creating and making with each of those platforms. So yes, I do know about Arduino.
So let me just read out this article a little bit. To the uninitiated, an Arduino looks like a crazy little machine that connects to a small piece of plastic with tiny wires. Once you have the kit in your hands, it starts to make a little more sense. This is from Lifehacker, by the way. At its core, the Arduino is a small programmable microcontroller board that accepts and stores code from your computer capable of cool outcomes ranging from controlling lights to making music. The board, the programming languages, and most projects you find online are open source. This means you can edit and use them to your own needs. Because it's open source, simple, and has a $25 price tag, Arduino has become the go-to tool for creating and sharing electronics-based DIY projects. So I decided before I read any more into this, I want to see what kind of projects other people have done, and if it's something I could do as well. Also, can anybody else hear that white fuzz in the background? It's been getting louder. Is your fan on or something?
I don't think so, but it could be just random nonsense from this overall rig.
Every time you speak, it disappears. So I assume it's your microphone picking up sensitivity to try and hear.
It might be. The microphone might be getting like background noise or something, so unfortunately I don't know! Duct tape and barely silicone.
Okay, just in case there's something obvious. So some of the basic home projects you can do with this electronics thing. Turn off an idle home theater amplifier, monitor your computer's heat, sunrise alarm clock, so it'll have a light sensitivity meter on it, and when it detects a certain level, you can make a sound go off or some music or whatever you want. PC ambient lighting. Adding ambient lights to PC can make your video watching experience exceptionally cool. Using Arduino and a little code on your PC, it monitors your screen and creates lighting behind your monitor, which is pretty damn cool. So there's different types of packs you can get. You can get like the basic one for $20, but that comes with no sensors and very little anything else really. Or you can go for the slightly more expensive that comes with some basic soldering kits and stuff for about $80. And so I'm thinking at some point in the next couple months picking one of these up because it sounds very cool. And I want to hear, anybody out there, what kind of electronic stuff do you guys do? The Arduino. Do you play with it? Have you tried out different things? What kind of electronic stuff would you be interested in making if you were to do it? Because I think the ambient lighting one, for one, is very cool. I like the idea of being able to send a text to a phone at my house, which will then turn on my kettle. I love that idea. Or a tweet. Tweeting my house, just at Ken's house, and saying, turn on the coffee machine. And it'll check the message. If it's from my account, then it'll know to turn on the coffee machine. And so when I get home, I'll just have a fresh cup of coffee or a fresh pot of coffee waiting for me. That is so cool. And I'd learn more about electronics, and I'd learn more about code. That sounds cool to me. Missing in the IRC says he saw Articuno, not Arduino.
Yes, and Copy saw Copy saw what? Audino, which is apparently a Pokemon character.
Articuno. Articuno's a Pokemon character.
But yes, no, so it's funny because, yeah, and Missing says he heard, turn on the copy machine. Which I'm sure you could do with Arduino and the right attachments? Anyhow, so it's one of those that, no, any of these is an open source platform, so really you can do anything with it. Most of the ones we do is is looking at things like, for me, the lighting projects I have planned. A lot of the people who are running these different light things at the Maker Faire were using Arduinos or BeagleBones or any of these type of mini microprocessors to essentially send the signals they need and light up the specific lights they wanted. One of the cool groups had built a wall of lights that were all a single addressable RGB LEDs, and what they had is anything they were displaying on their iPad or whatever tablet they were using would show up equivalent colors on the screen, and so you could almost show video. It was kind of low resolution for that, but they were able to go through and just sync through it, and so it's really, really cool. So yeah, no, these kind of devices are huge because you can incorporate them into any part of your life as long as you come up with a need. They're basically real simple programming projects, so someone like you, Ken, should be all over it. In fact, some of those kind of concepts are what run the OpenROV. They have different components from different microcontrollers, and in fact, BeagleBone, I think, is one of the things they've used in time, pieces of it and such like that. So they go through and they use that open source programming to do some of the key features on even their robotic vehicle. No, these things are amazing, and they've shown how they can power all kinds of projects with it.
Yeah, I don't know what else I could do. I want to find out more what kind of projects I'd be interested in actually doing. Like what I like the kind of idea of integration with Twitter and controlling my home. I love the idea of maybe turning on my heating, monitoring my heating, lighting as well. That's pretty cool. Maybe turning the shower on, little things like that. I love home automation. That is so cool to me.
A lot of
the front door. Oh, what I would really like is if there's an RFID thing, so I didn't even need to.
Yep.
Not even that actually. Maybe a Bluetooth thing, so that as soon as I come near my home, the front door.
It unlocks it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have those devices, and you can build those. So it's really what. Cool. It's whatever your imagination allows. That's one of the big themes from essentially this weekend at Maker Faire is because it's all what can you do with these simple devices to make anything. And so that's absolutely the point of it, and why you want to pick up these devices. Part of the reason I want to get OpenROV, part of the reason I want to work with Kuro on some of these lighting projects is to start having a reason to program, and it's very simple logic. But both get me to write routines and to use some of this hardware to tie into actual devices where you're getting information directly out of it. And so I can start getting things like the light meters and stuff, because I have projects I've wanted to build for a while that I know can be done. I just can't do it yet. And so I need Kuro, by the way, we're going to set up a date so I can come down to your geek spaces and your hack events so I can learn how to solder finally, because I don't know how to solder, and that's a big component to a lot of what I want to make. But so absolutely, no, it's funny because in many ways, Ken, I feel like you're, again, like a year or 2 or 3 behind something. Because we've known about these for so long, and we have people that absolutely use it, but it's great that you're getting into it.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it does have a price tag attached to it, and I'm trying to be very smart with money just now, trying not to do anything silly. I'm at the start of my life in terms of marriage and stuff, and I want to try and have some savings in the lights, so I'm trying to be a little bit tight with money. That being said, I think it's important to have skills and lights, so I think this is a good thing to invest in at some point, maybe in the next 4 weeks. Or if not, next couple months anyway.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you are learning and keeping up somewhat with the rest of us who've known about it for a while. Joke, I joke.
That's like me starting to learn how to draw, and you're like, oh man, that hobby's been around for thousands of years.
Well, no, this is more following up on you saying what you did about Skyrim modding, where I was like, yeah, been doing that for a while now.
Constantly upgrading as well, sir. I'll have you know.
Oh, yes, it is. Well, hey, if it makes you feel any better, I have an article that I got specifically for you and Kitten Features.
Okay.
This one, as I aggregate continuously from News 360, but is a Mashable article, and it's talking about somewhere you've been, and it's here in America. And so what it is...
3 states so far.
Yep, so this is a first look at the Gringotts ride inside the wizarding world of Harry Potter.
Ooh.
So one of the big things that they were doing down at Universal was, in a sense, adding on to the Harry Potter world and ride, because they had already what we experienced at Hogsmeade, but now they're adding in the other park, the one that Graham and and Stuart went to. Stewie and Graham, the one they spent time at was.
I love that you call him Stuart. By the way, he absolutely hated that when he was there the whole time. Every American would call him Stuart. He's Stuart. It's like a CH.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. It's Stuart.
No, it's not. It's not the same thing.
No, that just sounds like someone has something in their mouth while they're trying to say it, instead of being able to actually pronounce the whole T at it. So it's Stuart instead of Stuart.
It's his name. He gets to choose how it's pronounced.
So Stewie. So the park they went to, they're adding another piece where they're going to have Diagon Alley as a whole part of the attraction. And so at the end of Diagon Alley, one of the things they're going to have is Gringotts. And that's going to be their big, essentially, ride. And the idea of it is much like the story of Harry Potter and the other things that we already experienced where you're running around through their big virtual simulator in the castle. This one's going to be an upgrade of that one that's going to be using full high-resolution type of displays and the kind of glasses-free 3D, very much what we saw, but you're going to be riding on one of the carts, the kind of the mine carts they have in Gringotts, going through and trying to get some item out of the bank vault before evildoers do instead. And so it's going to be very similar to those parts of Harry Potter where they're going to get the one of the Horcruxes that was in there, I believe. Yeah. And so they've built a ride specifically around that. They show in the video on this link some of the ideas, and they specifically have like the animatronics of the goblins or such that run it. And so they say it's going to be a really big deal, and hopefully people love it. So another reason you'll have to come back to the United States at some point.
I'll have to. There's no choice now. I have to go now. I mean, I was already going to go back to do the same ride as last time again, because that was so much fun. Oh my god, that was so much fun. I'm going to have to go back just like... I'm going to have to live in Florida. Just that's the set. That's it done. I'll be there in a
There are
month.
worse things to do, so I hope you follow the link and you look through some of the pictures they have towards the bottom, because you look at like the grand entrance and everything, and it's gorgeous. It really does look straight out of the movie, where it's just like, oh my. And so I'm really excited to kind of see how they're going to do it, because those Harry Potter rides were some of the most immersive for just kind of going into and feeling like you're part of the world, that this is just adding to it and making it an even bigger deal. So that sounds amazing. So I thought you'd like that one.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that. So, my one, I suppose. Let's see. I'm going to pick up something from this week. I'm going to pick a random one. How about this? This one looks interesting. This is from IGN. The most common choices by a large margin were the default names, John and Jane, in Mass Effect, the game. Because those were the default ones, and those were the most normal.
Great intro. Wait, what article is this? Shepherd. Okay, from IGN, BioWare reveals what most players call their shepherds.
I was getting there.
Yeah, that was weird. Go.
Most of them call them John and Jane, so that's the default ones. But those are pretty generic. So this is an article which is explaining what the most common names are other than those. It's not surprising, really, considering the name Jack, as in Giant Slayer or Bauer, is an archetype.
Wait. I swear I got one for this. I got one for this. Let's see.
Archetype.
Wait, here you go.
Nintendo Play.
today.
Man. That is horrible, Ken. At least it's not just me and technology, it's you and speaking.
How do you say that word? I'm having a mind block.
Alright, let's see. Let me find where you are in the article.
I know it's archetype, but you're saying typical at the end, effectively.
Archetypical.
So
Archetypal.
What? That sounds silly. No, I hate that word. That's a stupid word.
Archetypal?
No, anybody in the IRC, how do you say that word properly? This does not sound right. I don't believe it.
Archetypal? Which one do you like?
I don't know how
so
it's said.
Archetypal.
Anyway, Jack is a normal hero name utilized in everything from nursery rhymes and fairy tales to episode 24 and disappointing Die Hard sequels. The most common female name after Jane was Sarah, one of the world's most popular given names for women across a range of countries. You can check out the remaining popular names here. So for women it goes Sarah, Kate, Alice, Jessica, and Alex. And for men it was Jack, James, Chris, Alex, and Michael. That's the most boring list ever. I was hoping this was going to be like, the number one name was Cthulhu, followed by, I don't know, Jesus. I don't know, something fun, you know? I thought there was going to be some sort of sense behind this. This is the most dull article I've ever read. Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for expanding our knowledge of what people in BioWare games are doing. Yay! Aren't you exciting? Now, the word that everyone needs to in the future for all online gaming where you get to name your own character, it all has to be Bird Jesus.
Bird Jesus is a good choice. I agree. I think that was a copy suggestion.
I don't know if it was, but that's one I would do because then everyone would know where it came from.
Yeah, true. Can I have another article? That one was bad.
Alright, Ken, try to redeem yourself and pick an article that's actually interesting.
Okay, well this one is definitely interesting. Just because you said it that way. This is also from IGN. The Warcraft movie will focus on 2 tribes. The producer Thomas...
Wait, I could have swore you said interesting.
Yeah, definitely. The producer Thomas Till has been talking about his film adaptation of World of Warcraft, revealing that footage from the movie, which is simply titled Warcraft, will screen at Comic-Con this year.
What?
He also hinted that the film will focus on 2 tribes. Speaking to IGN on the London leg of the Godzilla publicity tour, Tull said doing a video game movie has not really been done well, and I think part of the reason for that is it's been done for the wrong reasons. If you simply say,
money.
How many people have played the video game, how much money can we make, you're doomed. You're doomed right at the start. Bringing a filmmaker like Duncan Jones on board to distill that and bring the incredible cast on board that he was going to be able to get, we hope that when you first see the trailer, you're going to say, okay, that is not what I was expecting. He's an incredibly exciting filmmaker, said Tull. So that's pretty interesting. The Warcraft film, Warcraft, is set to hit screens March 2016, so 2 years away yet. A little less than 2 years now. 2 years, 10 months. So I don't know, I'm still excited for this, because you know how good all the cinematics have been. You cannot deny that. The cinematics have been godly.
I think the people that Blizzard hired to do any kind of CG rendering are amazing and should branch off and make their own movies, where they could actually have something to work on more often than once every, 10 years.
Yeah, they make more than enough money from that than anything else, I'm sure. Anyway, so it carries on to say, we asked Tull when we might see that trailer, to which he responded, we'll see it every summer. We show up at every summer at Comic-Con. We really enjoy it, and the fans seem to enjoy taking a look at things, so I wouldn't be surprised. So it's not definite, it might be at Comic-Con. That worries me a little bit. As for what the film will focus on, Tull said that with a great cast, there's a lot of folks to follow, so I'd look more in that direction because there's so many talented people working on it. He keeps iterating that over and over, that's interesting as well. We're very aware of the fact that in the mythology of Warcraft there are 2 tribes, 2 big things to follow. We think you're going to get a chance to look at both. So I think that's going to be Alliance and Horde, I assume. So
well, it says tribes. It could be more specific than that. You know, it could be actual individual groups of people or something at a smaller scale, which would be kind of smart because if you try to incorporate the entire World of Warcraft into a single movie, you're never going to do it. You need to focus on a single story that maybe takes you through a handful of known locations and areas and get those right, versus trying to show off and come up with a reason that someone would have to travel all around Azeroth in one, fell swoop. So you gotta be careful with that. But I do have hopes. I've heard little rumors of friends who've seen some of the footage, and they say it looks amazing. So That's one piece that I would still be interested in checking out. It has nothing to do with the game itself. It's more the Warcraft world and what was really generated by the first games. So I am curious, and I hope that it's going to be amazing. But it's not just a CG movie, because this one's actually live action.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So it's going to be more CGI than live action anyway, I think.
Well, we'll see.
I assume it will be. I mean, I think if it was just filmed outside in Scotland, it's going to look a bit terrible, to be honest. So I think it's going to require a lot of animation. Anyway, if the film is like 3,000 out of 10, just the best film ever written, ever made, best music, everything that is just perfect about it.
Yeah.
Do you think that would pull you back in for 1 month of WoW?
No, that has nothing to do with the game. That's a great movie, which I'm all kinds of excited to see a great movie. That has nothing to do with a terrible game.
Okay, I was just curious.
See, it's the opposite. Normally we run into where you get a great game and then you get a crap movie. Well, now you're going to get what has become a crap game and hopefully get an amazing movie. And I'm totally cool with that.
It wasn't a crap game. You can't say that. You know it wasn't a crap game.
I don't know. It wasn't, but it is today.
Okay, fair enough with that as well. Fair enough. You can have your...
Yes, I can be correct. I agree. So, something that's techie, but outside of normal games of tech that we talk about. This one coming to us from Engadget, and it is talking about, and I picked this up because I just found it quite interesting that a company has done this. It's almost one that I wish Tom Bad Guy were here, because I think he'd appreciate it. But what this talks about is Jack White from, let's see, get it right, make sure it's Jack White from the White Stripes, I believe?
Yeah.
So Jack White's Lazaretto Ultra LP is a marvel of vinyl engineering. So what this is talking... No. Have we? Because this is a new one.
Oh, I've heard this before. So either I've read it. No, I'm sure I talked to somebody about this. Somebody has told me this before. And I think it was you. I'm not entirely sure. IRC, help us out.
Talking about all the cool things they did on this LP?
Yeah, I remember this.
Because I don't remember ever talking about this.
I do. So maybe it was just me talking to somebody else, and I've just forgotten. It's entirely possible.
I was gonna say, because I've heard some great things in vinyl that people have been doing to still maintain good quality, and how it is still a high quality analog type of listening experience. What I liked about this one specifically is that it's got some neat features in it, including things where it's got like they did multiple things with the way they encoded the tracks on it, since it is literally a linear progression of the needle across the disc, across the LP. And so some of the things they did is that they have a couple tracks that have different intros depending on where you place the needle on the record, and that they will blend together into the same track as it continues on. And so it actually spirals out in parallel tracks next to each other on the vinyl, and if you put the needle on the right track, it starts with one intro, and like if you let it play through the record as it would normally, but if you move it over slightly other, there's an entirely separate intro that leads into the exact same song and continues playing. And so just from the physical aspect of how a vinyl was made, I thought that's pretty darn slick.
That's cool, yep.
Another thing they did with it is they did, and apparently they've done this before, they put an entirely another set of tracks underneath the label of the LP. And so what they have is, when you get to the centerpiece where it usually has the information about the artist and everything, kind of the graphics on it, they actually put additional tracks under the label. Not only did they push additional tracks under the label, they also made it so that those tracks play at different speeds. So it says there are two vinyl-only hidden tracks that are tucked underneath the labels, one on each side. What's more, one of those tracks plays at 78 RPM, and the other at 45 RPM, making this 180-gram vinyl release a 3-speed record. And so it's very similar to the previous one they've done, where it had another label under the groove before, but it's totally different. It says, okay, side A also plays from the inside out on both sides, and let's see, oh, that's interesting. From the inside out, normally records play from the outside in, and so that's completely different. And let's see, and they have a locked groove that repeats, both of which have been seen on LPs before. The dual groove tech either plays an electric or acoustic intro for the song Just One Drink, based on where the needle is dropped. So there's that piece where it's depending on how you put the needle down, it plays entirely different intros. But essentially, I just want to throw that in there as being neat that someone is still providing that kind of technology in an old medium like vinyl, where they're taking it beyond what was done way back in the day. Let's see, both sides end with locked grooves. Vinyl press is seldom used for flat edge format. Let's see, they've just got a whole list of things they did that's just the technology of the actual making of the album itself. So that's what I wanted to get out there from a tech perspective. It's just how cool is it that someone is still innovating in LP design. All right, back to you, sir.
I'd agree. Jack White is awesome. I've seen him live twice.
Nice. I have not seen him. Ow, actually, there's nothing I but I haven't seen him at all.
Very fun concerts. He gets into it, and I've seen the Smashing Pumpkins a bunch of times as well, and I've seen Rammstein as well. And Pumpkins have been losing how much they care over time. It's just been going down, and now they just stand there and just play music. It's the atmosphere as well, and don't create it anymore. White Stripes and Jack White, he just flies around the stage, and he's throwing his guitar here and there, and he's screaming into the microphone. Not actual.
So he's still very animated and into
it. So much passion, and that makes it, as well as the fact that it sounds fantastic, and you want to just jump and go along with the music, and that's what concerts should be like.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, come on. It's one of those things I've discussed with a lot of people where some artists will just play the music. And in fact, I just had a discussion where a concert one of my friends went to, and this isn't mine, went to a Black Eyed Peas concert that also had Ludacris, which, oh my God, I would love to see that concert. But it said Ludacris came out there and it was kind of like listening to the album. Sounded great, but it really wasn't more than just him out there doing the songs. Black Eyed Peas came out there and put on a show where people were dancing around, going nuts, so much energy, more than you get just from listening to them. And I can agree, because that's the same way like LMFAO, when they put on their concert, was just phenomenal. And you got me on this idea of concerts now, because you're talking about White Stripes and your experience. Although I have to pause, because Copy asked in the IRC to say, hey, by the way, in the Dragon Ball Z series, the androids have finally got a names after, what she said, like 20 years. They're still just being androids. Yeah. After 22 years, it says the names are Lapis and Lazuli. And so she asked that we got that out to the world, so there you go, Copy. The world now knows.
I think my next pets are going to be called those names. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is actually good, because it's somewhat obscure for people to know. So, yeah. I have something else that as we're talking music, that got me excited. Because I don't think I talked about this before, because I just got tickets for it. I spent way too much money recently. But it was a festival called the Riot Fest. Had I talked to you about this before? So this is a concert that's coming up here in Colorado, out east in the middle of a farm. And it's one of those ones that's an event over a weekend. So a whole group of different artists are coming out. Well, I wanted to tell you some of the artists that are coming. I'm going to try to go through this list. I'm going to go from the bottom up, because some of them you'll recognize. A lot of them I have no effing clue who they are. But I got tickets for this. A couple of friends of mine going. Lieutenant Fork and I are going to be going. Hopefully another person. And so, it's like $140 a ticket for this weekend each. But some of the artists are My Body Sings Electric. Don't know them. Plague Vendor, Tiny Moving Parts, The Bots, Soul and DJ Payne, the Unlikely Candidates, Wounds, Red City Radio, Cerebral Ballsy, Radkey, I Am the Avalanche, Pianos Become the Tea. Before. Okay, see? I was wondering when they'd start kicking ones you know. Dads, In the Valley Below, Skaters, Nostalgia, Larry and His Flask. Now it gets to, or let's see, was it Pacifier, the Orwells, Big Frida, the Messingers? Now it gets to ones that I actually kind of recognize, some. 303, which is a Colorado band.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yep, know them. The Expendables, We Came as Romans, Mineral, La Dispute, All, Face to Face, Bouncing Souls, Clutch, Me First and Gimme Gimmies, Hot Snakes Failure, Lucero, Newfound Glory, I know them.
Oh, yeah. They're
Manchester cool. Orchestra, recognize that. Taking Back Sunday, The Used, City and Color, I know this band. The Violent Femmes. Let's see, Gogo Bordello, Bring Me the Horizon, I know another one. Dropkick Murphys, Die Antwoord, I know this one. NoFX, A Day to Remember, Descendants, TV on the Radio, aha, Social Distortion, Weezer, Rise Against, The National, and the whole reason I got tickets, The Cure.
Okay, I don't care about The Cure, but there's quite a few bands that
you suck!
The National are awesome. Newfound Glory were really fun back in the day, and I imagine their concert would still be quite fun for a nostalgia trip. 303, that's going to have some passion in it as well. There's some damn catchy songs with those guys, even though it's very poppy and stuff. It is fun. No, it sounds like a very, very fun event. So, damn, that's a nice, definitely worth getting the tickets for. Definitely.
That's what I thought. Plus, it's a weekend. It's out in the field, camping, something like that. I don't know how I'm going to manage it, but it should be a blast. Put it on my calendar. But I don't know all the bands, and I'll try to do what I do for every concert, where I try to listen to some music from everybody before the concert. This is going to be more of a challenge. Usually, it's like 3 artists I have to go through, because one opening band or something. This is going to be like a whole crud ton. So yeah. Anyhow, I think it's time. Sir, back to you for an article, as I totally took the reins and went elsewhere.
No problem. Let's go back to WoW, because I like it.
Damn it!
World of Warcraft's new female Night Elf model revealed. And this is from IGN. Blizzard has revealed its first glimpse of the made-over female Night Elf model. As with all the updated character models, our goal is to keep everything the original model accomplished intact, while using the additional fidelity to realize characteristics that we weren't able to fully represent with the lower polygon counts.
So, wait. Does this mean we're getting nipples?
Actually, from the looks of it, the breast looks smaller on this Night Elf, which is interesting.
Well, that can't be an improvement. What are they doing?
We see her jump, though. Said lead character artist Tyson Murphy, speaking on Battle.net. The female Night Elf has received some touch-ups to her muscle definition, as well as additional refinements to her eyes and eyebrows. There's also new details on her hands and fingernails, giving a very slight point to her nails to provide just a hint of a more feral nature. That's pretty cool. I like when they put some thought into that sort of thing. That is good.
Meaning they're biters.
Oh yeah. Blizzard previously. You also noticed they didn't say bigger breasts or like more bouncy breasts or anything. So that's interesting. Blizzard previously revealed its model updates for a few of WoW's other player characters, including the male Tauren, female human, and female orc. So that's cool. The new expansion has already been pre-ordered more than 1 million times, and it will be released sometime this year for PC and Mac. Alright, so that's my article.
No, that's good. I mean, it's nice that they keep trying to update what is such an old and failing engine. Let's see, what else do we have in here? One of the discussions we've had multiple times back and forth is about resolution and the new consoles and things like that. So an update to that is one that I got off of News 360, again, coming to us, talking about the game I'm highly anticipating, which is Project Cars. I got to touch this game, at least at CES, on a massive Titan rig, powered rig from, Origin Computers, and in it got to finally play, and it was in, triple 4K, ridiculous resolution, 60 frames per second, amazing. Well, there's been a lot of news back and forth about what can each of these consoles and systems handle. So this one, coming to us from Cineblend, says that Project Cars is aiming for 1080p and 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And this is where that's the interesting part, because so many games we've come to see have not quite hit that mark. In fact, I think one of the most recent was Watch Dogs, and they announced that they're not going to be able to hit 1080p on the PlayStation 4 like they had promised. Instead, it's going to be essentially 900p, where the Xbox will be 720p. So it's still, the PlayStation is continuously getting better resolution than the Xbox One, but neither of them are still able to continuously hit what the PC can at 1080p. So we'll see this. I saw this again at the NVIDIA booth here at Maker Faire. They had Project Cars running, and so I was very curious, and I was teased because my nephew mistook what they were saying, because he was able to get a little USB key fob that they got, a cool little like wristband one. That's a USB 8 gig key, and yeah, and they just kind of gave it to him. I forget what he had done to woo the people and saying, "Here you go, kid." But they had Project Cars set in there, and people were trying to set lap times, and I could have swore what they were saying, or what he was trying to say, is whoever got the top lap time was going to win like a copy of Project Cars, or basically getting into it. And if that were the case, I was ready to sit there and play the whole day and get it. But and it was a track I've played before on the game before, because Laguna Seca, I could have totally done it. But I was trying to keep my my nephews entertained and running around with them, so I left. But so I wanted it.
You were this
but,
close.
Well, I checked his key fob he got, and there was nothing on it. So that's what makes me wonder if like what he said was accurate, what he had heard, or if he just had heard something and thought he had gotten the game. But man, if he had. Anyhow, I'm really excited because this game looks phenomenal. It'll be impressive to see if they are able to get the full 1080p and 60 frames per second out of both those systems. I know Microsoft has come back and basically stated that whenever people say they can't get on the one, that it's really their fault, not Microsoft's fault, and that they should be able to get out there and actually that anybody should be able to meet it. So one of the follow-on things on the article at the end says, if slightly mad studios can hit 1080p at 60 frames per second, this person would be curious to know what corners they had to cut graphically to hit that standard. However, they wouldn't be surprised if the Xbox One settles for 720 at 60 frames or 1080p at 30 frames, which would be difficult because in a racing game like this, you really need to have fast updates.
Yeah, the frames are more important, yeah.
So we'll see what happens with it. I know a lot of games, it seems to be consistently that the PlayStation is being able to eke out more power than the Xbox, but this may be one that changes it because of good coding, and if so, that might prove Microsoft's point that it's really the people developing and not the hardware that's doing it, although we know the PlayStation 4 has better hardware. So we'll see. We'll see. Alright, sir, one more for you before we actually have reached up to our time frame and call it a week, and hopefully next week end up with better quality.
Okay. Let's see. It has to be a good one. Let's go for this one. This is from IGN. This is quite important, so I feel like we have to discuss it. Halo 5 has been announced. We wish you a happy Friday, and we wish you a happy Friday, and bring what may the biggest news to top all news this week. Halo 5 Guardians is official and coming to an Xbox One near you in 2015. But that's not all. Here are some new things that are also coming out, possibly. The Master Chief Collection has been revealed, which is pretty cool. Halo 5 Guardians is, of course, announced in itself. Halo 5 Guardians receives first piece of concept art, this is all available on IGN. Microsoft defends bundling Kinect with Xbox One, which is also available. That'll be an interesting read. PlayStation 4 Titanfall tops April's sale charts, and the next Gears of War is still in prototype stage. So there's a roundup of some news, and most importantly, Halo 5 has been announced. So once again, that's not going to be run by Bungie, so this is going to be an interesting one to look at. We'll see how that goes. I've seen it. It looks cool.
Well, so here's the thing. I admittedly have enjoyed all of the Halo games. I'm not a big FPS console guy because we've talked multiple times about why console is just bad. The question always comes out to, what title hits the console as an exclusive that finally makes you want to pay over $500 for that one game.
Yeah.
And so, okay, when I say all of them missing, I liked all of the regular FPS ones. I didn't play like top-down ones or any of the little things, the little third-person ones. I played Halos 1 through 3, and I played Reach, and I played, what was the other one that was in between them? Crud. And the other one but there were 5 of them that I played that I enjoyed all those. And so yeah, I do like the Halo series. I appreciated them. I will want to play a Halo 5 if it comes out. I think they tend to have great story and cinematics and things like that. But will I buy an Xbox One for one? No! If someone finds me a way to hack it and play it on the PC, yes! Then I'll absolutely play the heck out of it. If Microsoft finally figures out that PC is superior, then yes, I'll play the heck out of Halo 5. If not, hey, pause, you have an Xbox One. Or Fork, you've got one, right? Maybe I'll just have to find someone else to play it on and spend a weekend hanging out with somebody. But no, I just can't see spending the $500 or even the newly priced what's going to be $400 Xbox One when it comes out without a Kinect. Nope, can't do it. Alright, sir, I think that is all we have for today. And so, would you please give everyone all the information about how they can normally interact with us and the show, and help direct what stories you'd like us to talk about? We do our best to try to find out what's available on the web, what's news, and what's important. But at the same time, we can't see all of the interwebs, so if there's any articles that you ever see that you think would be interesting or you would like to hear our opinions on, please email them into the show at showx@btwproductions.com. Alright, Ken, everything else, please give it to us.
I love how you're asking me to do it, but then you sort of got caught up in the spiel and you're like,
I just did the One Piece! I did the One Piece. You're the one that gives them all the Twitters and things like that.
Okay, go along to twitter.com/gohex or /dogdead or /VTWShowX to find myself, Wayne, and the show itself on Twitter and follow all of our tweets there. Check out the art contest. There are so many contests available for you to go take part in. Take part in 1, 2, or 3, up to you. But please take part in at least one. I'd appreciate that. Also, you can follow us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com and search for Show X at the top, or Versus the World Productions, and you'll find us there. Also, tonight is a VTW gaming night, as I watch Copy's mother harass her on the video wall, and I'm laughing at that.
Yes, I did see her walk in and was trying to wave.
Yeah. You can go into the VTW main website, VTW Productions, type into Google and you'll find us. Just VTW and you'll find us, actually, because we're just that famous. 3 letters and you'll find us in Google. How cool is that? Look for the Ventrilo details on the main page and you can come join us for the gaming night. Sometimes we play together, sometimes we play individual games, but we all hang out and it's good fun. With that, that's everything I want to bring up. Thank you for having me on the show again, sir, and thanks for putting in all the effort to have us on the go, even though you're out traveling this week.
Yes, so I won't be playing tonight, people, because I have family in town and everyone around. So, with that, I see Barry VA entering the IRC and such, so get ready to hopefully check out the Casuals on Alpha Geek Radio as they simulcast with us. And until that happens, we are running away. So catch all our shows on VTWProductions.com. Check out hopefully new episodes of Tales of Relevant Thought, as well as our new show, Nickels and Pussy, as well as check out all the shows, No Excuses, our affiliates, Geek.io. And I believe I even got involved in a new Indeed podcast show, so keep an eye out for that, and you may hear me elsewhere this week. Anyhow, guys, we are gone, and we're heading out, so pay attention, and hopefully the Casuals will be on shortly. Alright, now I gotta find all the buttons. Yeah, I know. I'm professional. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye. See you next zombie. Good night. Also, God.